Hello, thanks for joining me. Yeah, really excited to be back, right? Yes, thank you very much for joining me on another edition of your Sorrow Sports Business Show, Sport Exchange. My name is Judy Olanura, and today it's going to be another cracker, yeah, right? Yes, today we'll be doing something different. We've done so much about the well-established institution, but now is the time to talk about the goods that lays the golden egg. One of them, though. Yeah, let's talk about higher institutional sports. Yeah, we will be looking at maybe we're trying to just focus on the Nigerian University Games, using it as a case study on the show today. That will be at the dugout segment. But you know how we do it. We take the news and look at some of the stories that are breaking as far as sports business is concerned. But today we have some of those interesting stories coming from Nigeria. This is where we will start from. And after that, we go to the dugout segment. Don't forget, the offside segment is back again this week. Yes, it is back. And we are looking at something that is brewing right here. A lot of people love that league. Yeah, special league. Nigerians love that football league. So that is what we'll be focusing on as far as this offside is concerned on today's show. Okay, let's go on a break. And when I return, it will be time to take the news.
Fantastically finished.
Welcome back, straight to news. Yep, what's happening? We start from Nigeria. Nigeria's Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, says the country must be ready to address and overcome funding constraints as she prepares to organize and participate in several domestic and international competitions in 2022. Speaking at the 2022 Budget Defense Session with the House of Representatives Committee on Sports Development in Abuja, Dare highlighted some of the challenges Nigeria's Ministry of Youth and Sports Development is facing in prosecuting most of its sporting activities. Meanwhile, Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Sports Development, Olumide Oshoba, applauded the Sports Minister and his team for initiating programs that have impacted Nigerian sports positively in the last 2 years. And still moving on, sports marketing agency Sport 5 has picked up the commercial rights to Nigeria's top-tier league and the country's national teams in a 2-year contract starting this year. The agreement was signed with the League Management Committee Limited, LMC, and which manages the 20-team Nigeria Professional Football League, NPFL, and the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF. Sport 5 will be the exclusive sales representative and tasked with bringing in new commercial partners and the distribution of NPFL marketing rights, as well as avail its vast service portfolio alongside distribution, production, and commercialization to the NFF too. And now to this one that is quite interesting also. Super Eagles goalkeeper Maduka Okoye has signed a 5.5-year deal with Premier League club side Watford. The deal, according to the Hornets, will begin on January 1, 2022. The Nigerian international joins the Hornets for an undisclosed fee from Eredivisie outfit Sparta Rotterdam, to where he will return on loan until the end of the 2021-2022 campaign. He becomes the fourth Nigerian at the club after William Troost Ekong, Ogene Karo Otebo, and Emmanuel Dennis. And now to another interesting one, actually. Leeds United have announced that 49ers Enterprises, the investment arm of the National Football League's NFL San Francisco 49ers, has increased its stake in the English top flight soccer club to a 44% stake. Yeah. The latest deal sees 49ers Enterprises take an additional 7% in the Premier League outfit from Asa Ventures, the holding company owned and chaired by Leeds United chairman Andre Razzizani. Asa Ventures holds the remaining 56% of the Yorkshire club. Financial terms of the latest deal were not disclosed. And now to Saudi Arabia. Formula One's governing body has said it is confident Saudi Arabia will be ready for its Grand Prix debut next month after media reports highlighted the amount of track work still to be completed. The floodlit lights raised along the Red Sea shore in Jeddah is scheduled for December 5 as the penultimate round of the championship. Depending on results in Brazil and Qatar, Saudi Arabia could be a little decider between Red Bull's Max Verstappen and Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen leads Hamilton by 19 points with 4 races remaining. That's it for the news at this time. Yep, that is what we are capturing. Okay, well, let's go on a short break now, and when we return, it will be for the dugout segment. Our guest is standing by, and just like I said, we're looking at the collegiate games, and we are studying Nuga. What is happening, and how can we create a vibrant higher institutional sports? Okay, that's it. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
Fantastically finished.
Yes, welcome back to the show. It's still Sport Exchange right here. And this is the dugout segment. We are looking at something in each market this time around as far as the sports business is concerned, or the sports business ecosystem. Today we are focusing on institutional sports in Nigeria. And how do we create a vibrancy? How do we create a vibrant ecosystem in the institutional terrain? That's talking about the higher institution and other institutions like the university, polytechnics, college of education, and some others. How do we create a vibrant ecosystem? So joining me, we will use the Nigerian University Games as a case study on the show, and joining me on the dugout segment as we have this conversation is Chidiebere Eziani, who, by the way, she is the media and marketing manager of the Nigerian University Games Association. Chidiebere, it's a pleasure to have you on Sports Exchange. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jide, for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Yep. Chidiebere, you are, you've been to many, when you talk about you function in many spheres as far as sport is concerned. You, at some point, you're still a journalist. Anyway, you're still there. Right now, you have moved into sports management. And let's talk about the institutional sports in Nigeria. Of course, from my perspective, it's not improving because there are a lot of things that need to be fixed. And as an insider now, you were reporting this. Right now, you are an insider. What are those things that we really need to address now as a matter of urgency so that we can get going? Because this is having a ripple effect on our sports. Because this ought to be the bedrock of most of our sports development. One of the bedrock, right?
True. I don't think it necessarily lies with the university system. I think the problem of sports in Nigeria starts with the way sports is treated. Sports as an industry in Nigeria is not thriving. So it leads to the fact that our universities, our schools, and most of our parents still see sports as play. We've not reached to the extent where we see sports and as an industry that the universities will recognize that sports is actually another avenue for the university to gain revenue, which is why we are not yet able to um, get sports to where we want it to be in our colleges, like we see in the US and other places in Europe and in Asia. Also, the lackluster attitude of our administrators towards sports development means that how much is the ministry interested in what's going on in grassroots football or grassroots sports rather? How much are we interested in a structure that thrives? So that's where we need to start. Essentially, the parents of the children in schools will now realize that sports is not just a recreational activity, but sports as a student actually creates a dual career path where you have the opportunity to play the sports you love and also have the opportunity to eventually become whatever professional you want to be. So basically, I think that's we have a basic structural problem in Nigeria, and that's why sports seems to be stagnant in the country.
Let's look at from your perspective. Let's begin to look at stakeholders engagement now. You're on the side of Nuga. How do we engage the stakeholders to know how critical this is industry, especially this particular sector, talking about institutional sports sector is? Right now, you've highlighted that the parents needs to know. Of course, the university management also needs to know, because I'm very aware of this. And of course, all these critical stakeholders, how do we bring them together to have to have a focus and a vision, one vision?
Without trying to point fingers, it all starts in the sports ministry. What's our sports policy? What's the sports policy on education and sports? How do we combine this in such a way that the Ministry of Sports and the Ministry of Education are in the same line? You also have to remember that Nigeria goes through a whole lot of problems, including the ASU strikes and other things that affect academics, which means that there's no cohesion in our university calendar, which makes creating sports events in our universities a little bit difficult. Not necessarily because the schools or the universities or the vice chancellors are not interested, but because of these things that are beyond their power. Also, if we have, what's the precision plan in our sports? How many universities can say, okay, we admit so and so number of students because of sport? We know how many Nigerian athletes have gone to school in the US just because they can run. How many of our universities have that? But that can only be achieved if there is a proper grassroots plan where you have people from primary schools and secondary schools scouted by universities. So like I said, it all goes back to what our sports policy plan on education and sports, because that's where it starts. Because if there is no uniformity between what the Ministry of Education is saying and what the Ministry of Sports is saying, what's the financial policy? Who sponsors what? Who does what? Who goes from where to where? So these are things that we need to begin to look at. What's our precision plan? We don't see athletes move, sequentially. Like you can trace the Williams sisters back. You can you see college athletes play college basketball and then they're drafted into the NBA. But we rarely have that. And it's not because the universities are not interested, but because there is no cohesion in our structure in sports in Nigeria.
All right, Chidebere, yes, let me zero in kind of now. Let me just look at the office or the portfolio you hold. You are the media and the marketing manager of the Nigerian University Games. I must confess, I must tell you that you have kind of brought youthfulness into this particular office. And what is your vision? Because of course, marketing is How is the sports? And it is very critical. What is your vision? How are you reaching out? What is your plan to make sure that, okay, there is vibrancy in that particular office, and you begin to get the listening ear of those that matters?
I must be already doing something right because I got the contact from you to be on your program. So I think that's a plus. Personally, the reason I'm here is, like you said, to bring a face students in universities can recognize and to readjust our scope to what is modern, what is new, and what is obtainable in today's sports sphere. I hope to be able to reframe or reshape the thinking around the Nigerian university sports system, to re-show the viability, how immense, how intense, how interesting, and community building. We have a slogan here, the gown and the town, the universities and the communities, creating these uniformities between them. That's the plan and that's the vision of this office going forward. We hope to be able to uh, create an avenue where Nigerians re-recognize NUGA, as that viable opportunity for Nigerian university students to explore a dual career path, not just go to the university and study, but have that opportunity to be able to excel beyond the academics.
I hope you're also working on kind of creating a peer review mechanism between these universities to look at how they are faring. Maybe that can even stimulate some kind of competition. What do you think?
It's a little bit difficult, like I said, because there is no structure. Like if we had a uniform structure working in our favor, that peer review situations would be beneficiary. But we're more or less at the mercies of what the vice chancellors think are important. And this all lies on the fact that there is no proper financing of sports in our schools. Because if a certain university is making millions of naira from endorsements for their football team or for their basketball team, like you see in the USA, they don't have an option but to spend said money on sports. But when the vice chancellors have to juggle between getting a library or buying chemicals for the laboratory and sending a team to go and play chess or table tennis, they will most likely choose education because, hey, it's what the school is there for. So, like I said, we're trying to find viable means to provide adequate financial support, which is why we call on stakeholders, alumni, those who are interested in sports development to come partner with us at this moment, because the best ways is to, first of all, create sports facilities, and then we can create events that will engage our students.
All right. I must say, Chidebere, it's a pleasure talking to you. I know that we're still going to have time because I know there are a lot of things we need to look at. Maybe we'll create more time so that we can even look at the Nuga Games. Look at it. I know the next one will be hosted by University of Lagos, but maybe we can talk about that and some of the challenges you guys faced in putting these games together. But for now, we have to call it, we have to wrap things up right now because of time. Thanks for joining me on today's show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right. That was Chidebere Eziani, the Media and Marketing Manager of the Nigerian University Games Association, NUGA. All right, we're going to break it. When we come back, don't forget, we should be signing off right after that, but the offside is there too. Quite interesting. We're looking at something that is been brewing, okay? That will be on our offside segment before we call it a show.
Fantastically finished.
Yes, welcome back. Like I said, quite interesting outside we have this week. On this week, we are looking at the English Premier League. Yes, that is our focus this year. What's happening? Man, what's really happening there? Okay, you know, Nigerians love their English Premier League so much. So, Paul, this particular one, let's zero in what's going on. So far, 11 games into the English Premier League season, and we have been served as an unusual managerial merry-go-round. 5 managers gone, 3 sacked in 7 days. Altogether, we have 25% of the managers gone. What a musical chair scenario we are witnessing. Why this high turnover? Is it about ambition or the fallout of the global pandemic? That's the question. Anyway, here is the breakdown. A quarter of all Premier League clubs have changed their manager so far this season, with 3 sacked in quick succession before the international break. Yes, let's remember, on the 3rd of October 2021, Watford's Xisco Munoz was the first to go, sacked with the Hornets 14th, 7 games into the season. He was replaced by Claudio Ranieri. Yes, he won the Premiership with Leicester then. And on the 20th of October, that's Newcastle boss Steve Bruce left his post by mutual consent. 13 days after, the Saudi Arabia-backed £305 billion takeover of the Magpies, with the club winless in the league. He has been replaced by Eddie Howe. Yeah, Eddie Howe. Rather, Eddie Howe has replaced him. Yeah, I got it right. Eddie Howe. Okay. Yep. Now to November. 1st of November. What a day. Tottenham dismissed Nuno Espirito Santo after 4 months in the post. After a run of 5 defeats in 7 league matches, he was replaced by Antonio Conte. I call him the checkbook manager. Let's hope that he can get on well with Daniel Levy. That's talking about the chairman of Tottenham Hotspur. Yes. And on the 6th of November, as if that was not enough, on the 6th of November, Norwich City, Daniel Farke, that's their manager, was sacked hours after their first Premier League win of the season. Who does that? After their first win, you sack your manager. The club are yet to appoint a successor. And yes, on the 7th of November, Aston Villa's Dean Smith was dismissed 2 days after the club's 5th successive league defeat. A replacement has not yet been announced. That's it. You see, that's the breakdown there. What's happening? What's really happening? Anyway, I remember that there are 2 things happening. Of course, there are 2 things that actually define the Premier League or define football. And when you talk about 2 managers, there are 2 sets of managers, and those who are being sacked and those waiting to be sacked. So let me tag the this season in the English Premier League as the team I'm going to give it is the team. This is the year of sackeries. Okay, that's just it. Sackeries. Does it remind you of anything? Okay, sackeries. Okay. Anyway, that's it for this week on the show. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget you can reach us via social media handles. I hope you've seen it before, but I'll repeat it. Facebook Sports, that's Sport Exchange 24 on Facebook. Like our Facebook page, and on Twitter, follow us. Twitter, Sport Exchange 24. Also on Twitter, you can follow us, and you will be enjoying the best of interaction. And YouTube is where we have those content domiciled. All right, best of content always dropping. So just click and like that's our YouTube, okay? Subscribe so that you can get notified whenever a new content drops. Until I come your way next time, I'm yours truly, today, tomorrow, and of the future in sports business. Jide Olano is my name. It's peace, and I'm out of here.